I don't like Corvettes. And I know that's going to make a lot of people mad, but just hear me out. And I guess I do like the C1, C2, C3. But past the C3, I just despise them. And I have really good reasons for that. At my first car show that I ever went to, it was the summer I had turned 12 years old. And this was right before I started to like cars. My friend invited me and I went knowing very little about cars, other than what made a cool car. At the time, I liked sports cars, European supercars, and expensive hypercars, even though I hadn't seen many. However, at this car show, I soon found out that there were none that were considered in these categories. It was mostly American muscle, hot rods, and American classics. I don't remember exactly what cars, but I remember I didn't like 98% of them. My friend thought I was crazy because he thought they were all super cool. But for some reason, I just couldn't bring myself to enjoy the way they looked. They weren't refined. They weren't cool. Fast forward, and I had learned that I don't like the majority of American cars. Chevys, Dodges. There's a bug. Anyways. Chevys, Dodges, Jeeps, Cadillacs, GMs, Buicks. I don't like them. This was 11 years ago and nothing has changed. I still don't like any of these brands. However, there are some exceptions like Ford. I enjoy some Fords like the Escort, the Focus, the GT, so I can't exactly say I don't like Fords. And then there are some American car brands such as Tesla and Lucid that I just don't really have feelings toward in any way, so I can't really say I don't like them. But in general, I say that I don't like American cars because 98% of them I don't like. And this is very true for Corvettes. I liked the old ones, that's it. Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Lot with Scott. I am your host, Scott, and for today's episode, we're gonna go through 3 reasons why I don't like Corvettes and 1 reason why I might. I do want to say a quick disclaimer that I have never actually driven a Corvette, but that doesn't matter. Let's get started. Reason 1 of why I don't like Corvettes: power is not everything. Corvettes are relatively inexpensive and have a ton of power, but they lack character. When you look at a Lamborghini, you see a controlled, aggressive bull in a china shop. When you see a McLaren, you see an obsessed engineer chasing precision. When I look at a Corvette, I see nothing. It feels like it was built to win comparisons and not hearts. And I know lots of engineers were involved in making it, but it just feels corporate. And what I mean by that, it feels like it was designed by a committee. It was calculated for speed and attainability. Ferraris are emotional. Lamborghinis are dramatic. McLarens are obsessed, but Corvettes are just optimized. They feel less human. You don't see any personality beyond the person driving it. Reason number 2, they're too attainable. A new base trim Corvette is less than $100,000, and the older ones are half that price, and you're still getting 400 to 500 horsepower. You may be thinking that that's good, and I'm talking nonsense. You can have a fun sports car for less than the median annual salary of a full-time employee in the US. That should be awesome, but it's not. It's one of the few reasons I don't like it. It's too common. They've lost the wow factor. When I'm driving down the freeway and I see a low sports or supercar on the highway, just the corner of it, I stare until I can get a better look at it. But once I realize that it's a Corvette, I kind of lose that feeling. Any other brand of sports cars, my eyes are locked on until I remember that I'm actually driving. That feeling I get when I see a Porsche or Ferrari just isn't the same when I see Corvettes. They're just not special. Reason 3, and this one is easily the most important. A couple years ago, I went on an Arizona trip and I saw easily the coolest cars that I had ever seen in my life. I'm talking Bugatti Chiron, McLaren Senna, Ferrari 328, Porsche 959, and many more. It was amazing. But more than anything, I saw old men driving Corvettes. They were all over the place. I see them all over Washington as well. I mean, 98% of the Corvettes that I see are driven by retired men. And because of that, I see Corvettes as an old man car. That is reason number 3. Don't get me wrong, I understand why. They're a cheap sports car that you can purchase after a long, successful career, but it just means that it has ruined that car for a young car enthusiast like me. It has ruined the image of the Corvette. This is the number one reason I don't like Corvettes. And like I was saying earlier, when you look at a Corvette, there's no personality whatsoever. And that's true. All I see is the time-seasoned lad whose wife finally let him buy a new toy. Great for him, truly, truly great for him. I'm glad that he can drive a car that he enjoys. I mean, I drive a minivan, and I would much rather have a sports car, obviously. But if I had financial freedom, or an immense amount of irresponsibility, some may say, there would be many other cars that I would choose before I chose a Corvette. However, that leads us to a reason why I could like Corvettes, and probably why they are so popular. They are a fun, rear-wheel drive sports car with a ton of power. That is a fun combination. I imagine that if I ever get the opportunity to actually drive one, I would enjoy it so much. Whether it's sliding through corners on a track or taking a nice back road, whether it's in a hard-top racer or a classy convertible, I would have a smile on my face. Putting all my opinions aside, I can't help but admit that they are a fun vehicle. They are built for that sports car feel, and even if they're cheap or have a bad image, they do their job, and that job is to make a car guy happy. Just because they look terrible doesn't mean they're a bad car. So yes, I know there's going to be disagreements on my last reasons, and for that, I say you are wrong. But for this one reason, I humbly accept that you are right, and I am wrong. Corvettes are fun. And I will even take it one step further and say that the C1, C2, and C3 are beautiful classics, even if they're not very fast. The new ones are just completely despicably ugly, but they make it up in horsepower. But since I've never actually driven one, and I have no personal experience shared with one, as of right now, I will say that they are the car that everyone likes except me. And it's gonna stay that way for at least a couple more years. If you like Corvettes, tell me why. And it has to be good reasons that I haven't already said. If you don't like Corvettes, I applaud you for not being a sheep. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. Goodbye.